Okay, I want to have a conversation about polling that is a careful conversation and a sober conversation, because there's been a narrative building over the last maybe 10 to 14 days that Biden is falling and Trump is rising, and that this is objectively a disaster for Joe Biden. And Donald Trump has actually applied the term plunging for George, not for someone's neckline who he's trying to talk to, but plunging from the standpoint of Joe Biden's polling. Now, the reality is, when we started getting these polls 2 months ago that said Biden is up by 10, Biden is up by 12, Biden is up by 15, I told you Joe Biden is not going to win the popular vote by 15, nor by 12, nor by 10. The polls are going to tighten, and depending on how you look at it, the polls are tightening. Joe Biden is starting to campaign in a bit of a different way as a result as we get closer to the election, and that makes sense. Donald Trump tweeting, as I told you yesterday, quote, Joe Biden is coming out of the basement earlier than his hoped for 10 days because his people told him he has no choice. His poll numbers are plunging. So let's know the facts, but let's also not become overconfident as a result of those facts. So first of all, have the polling averages tightened. You can always find one poll that will say almost whatever you want. But what about the averages? The Real Clear Politics average was Biden plus 9.5 a couple of months ago, and it's tightened by a couple of points to Biden plus 7. OK, it's tighter. We never really expected Biden to win by 10 in the popular vote. Would have been completely historic. And indeed, the numbers have tightened from Biden with a nearly 10-point lead to a 7-point lead. In the 538 polling average model, you see that Joe Biden now is plus 7.7. At one point, he was plus 9.6. That was back in early July. So yes, the polls have tightened. Is Joe Biden plunging? No, the answer is no. And of course, Donald Trump lies all the time. He lies and says coronavirus is surging in New Zealand when it's not. He says he's done a great job on the virus when he is not. He said in April, 15 cases would soon be 0. That didn't happen. We have 6 million. Just because Donald Trump is wrong about Joe Biden's polling plunging doesn't mean Trump can't necessarily win. And that's where I want to sort of go next. It's really important that our actions not be influenced by these dumb narratives that are put out there either by Donald Trump or others. If polling is tightening, you have to vote and I have to vote. If polling is not tightening, you have to vote and I have to vote. If Trump is right that Biden's polling is plunging, you have to vote and I have to vote. That's the primary message here. And I know it's like a broken record at this point, but you're only going to have to deal with it for two more months. Which are arguably going to be long months, but it's only 2 more months. And as a reminder, if you go back to September 1st of 2016 and look at the polling between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, September 1, 2016, 4 years ago today, Hillary Clinton was plus 4.9. And of course, we know she ultimately lost the Electoral College. Is Biden's lead bigger as of today? Yes, it's almost 3 points bigger than Hillary's 4 years ago. But so what? Why take a chance? Because there are things going on this year that are not in the polls. In other words, voter purges are not part of Biden's 7-point lead right now. Planned voter suppression is not part of the 7-point lead Joe Biden has right now. Messing with vote by mail and the post office and everything we've been talking about for the last 6 weeks, that is not in the polls right now. Voter intimidation at the polls, this vague idea that there might be someone, who knows, a militia, troops, who knows what, at the polls, intimidating voters. That's not in the polls. So let's act as if, remember, your vote could decide the outcome of your state. Individually, it's unlikely any of our 1 votes will do that. But collectively, if we all thought our vote didn't matter and stayed home, we actually would be influencing the results of the states. So that's the correct approach. There's no downside. Joe Biden's polling is not plunging. It's tightening as expected. We've got about 8 weeks to go, and this is the time. Let me know where you are on the polling. I'm on Twitter at @Pakman, and remember that you can get the daily audio podcast every single day on whichever is your preferred podcasting platform. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, Pandora, Podbean, etc. There's a lot of them. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes. If you love feeding your intellectual curiosity, but you're always struggling to find the time, check out one of my all-time favorite apps called Blinkist. Blinkist lets you consume an entire book on your way home from work. They take thousands of popular nonfiction books, condense each one into text or audio that you can get through in just 15 minutes, and you get all of the important core ideas and information from that book. It's perfect if you don't have enough time to do all the reading you want to do, or if you just want to sample a book before you buy the entire thing. I recently read A Brief History of Time, of course, by the great Stephen Hawking. This is a book that I have been aware of for so long, and other things got in the way, and it was fantastic to check it out on Blinkist. Blinkist has books on politics, philosophy, science. They have 27 different nonfiction categories, and a subscription is only about $8 a month, and you get the entire library. But you can try it totally free and get 25% off a subscription when you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. I've put the link right underneath this video.